What is up, YouTube? YouTube! Mr. King coming at you live from the studio. Here are the questions from the day. Please pause the video now and answer them. Hint for number 3. So basically what's going on, you have a stove here. The red arrows mean hot. The blue arrows mean cold. So what happens, let's say you're like boiling water. The hot water will go up because remember, heat, things that are hot spread out, so they're less dense. So the hot water will go up in the pan, and then eventually, the hot water is going to be far away from the burner. So the hot water will get cold. That's why the air is blue. And then once the water is cold enough, it'll sink back down. And then it'll get to the bottom of the pot again and get heated up. And it'll go up and float again. And then once it's far away from the burner, it'll get cold and sink back down. Then it'll get hot because it's near the burner and go back up. And it's a cycle that keeps going round and round, hot and cold, just like Katy Perry. And then that's how it works in the earth too, and like in your house. It's called convection or convection currents. Convection just means the flow of fluids, like gases and liquids. Okay, here's some announcements for today. This is the last week until spring break. Tomorrow, you'll have periods 1 and 2. Friday, periods 3 and 4, because of midterms and finals. Today, you will be able to model the flow of heat in a lava lamp and a stove. So go to classwork, Wednesday IS2 study guide, and open it up. I put this Khan Academy video if you need extra help with the convection currents, but I'll show you how to do them right now. So how it works, you're going to double click on this picture to edit it. The red arrows mean hot, blue arrows mean cold. First things first, find the heat source. So I have a little stove here and then a flame. So the flame will be the heat source. So you're going to start with a red arrow to show that it's hot. Red arrow will go up because heat, remember, things that are hot spread out and are less dense. So the heat will go up. So all the hot water will go up. And then now that the water up here, it's away from the burner, so it'll get cold. So grab a blue arrow and connect it to the red one. But it's not going to go up. It's going to get pushed over because all this hot water is going up. It's going to push that cold water to the right, to the rest of the pan. But eventually, think about it. Now that I know this water is getting cold because it's away from the burner, is the water going to go up or down? You should remember from last week, things that are cold are more dense. So that cold water will end up going back down. So flip it around to go down. And then now this cold water, it's back to the bottom of the burner again. So you can use this last hot arrow to connect them all. Because all the cold water that's sinking is going to get hot again. And then it's all going to repeat. It'll sink and then it'll get hot. And then once it's hot enough, it'll float. And then all the hot water is going to get pushed and it's going to be cold because it's not near the burner. Once it gets cold enough, it'll sink back down and it'll just keep repeating. And it's really good because that means it'll try and heat the pot evenly. Okay. Next, these questions are meant for you to do yourself. Do these questions yourself. How you do it, you highlight the correct term in the parentheses to complete the sentence. So like, for example, when a fluid is warm, the molecules move faster. And with blank, pick more or less kinetic energy. And then keep going down into question or part 8. Okay, pause the video now and try it yourself. You will learn the most if you try the question yourself first and then look at the answers after to learn from your mistakes. Okay, hopefully you pause the video. Now I'm going to go over the answers. Part 1, when a fluid is warmed, the molecules move faster with more kinetic energy, which makes them less dense, because when the atoms are moving really fast, they will spread out. Less dense water, if it's less dense, it'll float. So it'll go up. That's this one. And this one was a little tricky. Cooler/warmer water will replace the heated water. So if you look at our convection current, as you can see, when that hot water goes up, this water is getting heated. So that hot water is going to replace the water that just went up. And that water, it's a red arrow, so it's going to be warmer, which had moved up because heat is less dense. Next, as warm water rises, when warm water keeps going up and up and up and up, it will eventually cool down because it's far away from the heat source. So there's nothing to make it hot anymore. So that's why the coldest water will be furthest from the heat source. The coldest water is the most dense and will sink when it is around water, or because it sinks because it's more dense than the water around it. Next, convection cycle. That is where warm water will rise and it moves over to the left or right, depends on what it's getting pushed towards. And then if it's warm, it'll go down as it cools. And then it moves back to the left or right, whichever way to get back to the cycle. Convection cycle is all about the flow of heat. That's what convection is. It's a method of transferring heat. Part C, how do you draw convection currents? Here are the steps. First one, find the heat source. That's where it all begins. In part 2, draw a red/hot arrow going from the heat up. Then draw a blue/cold arrow connected to the hot arrow going over, left or right. And then draw a cold/blue arrow downwards because it's going to be sinking. And then the last arrow, connect the last arrow with the first one to complete the cycle. And that last arrow will be hot because it'll be near the burner. To check that you're right, make sure the arrows make a cycle, so they go round and round, and that the hot arrows are together. The cold arrows are away. They need to be away from the heat. That's what makes them cold. You're going to try that last one yourself with the lava lamp. Thank you everyone for watching me the whole time. When you're done, do the attendance survey. Thank you so much. Bye.